December 15th, what a fucking day. Okay, what a fucking day. So we start off at 12:16 with the moon opposing Chiron. So the moon is at the Capricorn degree, 22 degrees of Libra, and it is opposing Chiron. It's causing this tug of war that is really asking us to look into this wound of identity, how it presents itself in relationships, and it is trying to force some kind of balance between these two, right? Like you have to look after yourself in relationship dynamics. You have to know who yourself is in order to do that. And then at 12:20, the sun is going to sextile to the moon at that 22 degrees. So this is going to help us see how there is a lot of potential when these energies work together. So the sun being at the Capricorn degree, okay, so it's making this opposition to Chiron while it's trying to show you where you have to make a conscious effort, right? So as it's in this tug of war with your childhood wound, it is also saying that this new adventure that you are focused on, where you are putting your attention, that needs to have a bit more of a conscious effort when it comes to exploring what that means for you. Okay, then we get this square to Jupiter, and all of these aspects with Jupiter, while it's at 23 degrees of its retrograde, are really showing us how past family dynamics affected our ability to feel nurtured for being our authentic self, right? So this is going to show up some friction in that space and how that affects your relationships. Okay, then at 3:14, we're really being shown something that needs to be let go of, some kind of an idea that you have around relationships that's impacting your confidence. And that has a lot to do with needing to accept your authentic energy, any changes, any evolutions of self that you've had recently, and allow those things to come through in relationships. Because even if you believe that allowing those things to come through is going to ruin that relationship dynamic, you have to do it anyway. Okay. And then at 5:34 p.m., this is where you have to do it, because this compromise energy is really asking you to look at what component your inner value system plays in this rejection of your own needs. Okay. And then we look at where you need to collect a little bit more information, but you're a bit stuck. You're a bit obsessive about something and you can't quite make a decision. Right now, the North Node is now at 12 degrees of Pisces, and that is the Pisces degree. So this really is an integration of all of the information that we've gotten around cause and effect, around balance, around relationship dynamics, and we're inputting that data into this new integrated system, which is somehow making us a little bit less fearful of heading into this unknown territory. Okay. And then we get to this space here where 11:49 a.m. now we need to have a compromise in how we kind of see something that we've been struggling with for the last 7 to 8 years, okay, related to the family, related to values within the family, related to how you're being seen, whether you're being seen correctly, relating to love. All right. And then at 1:29 p.m., the sun at 23 degrees, the Aquarius degree of Sagittarius, comes in, and it's also going to have a say here. Something needs a resolution, and this could be a little bit of family tension coming up, and you're not quite sure how to balance it out. So it's needing to make a clear decision, but not really being 100% sure on how to do it, right? And then we get this quincunx to Neptune, and this one's it's going to be helpful, but it could be a little bit of a hazy, kind of stressful moment in a relationship dynamic that is like pulling on some strings from the past and like allowing us to really see when this moon sextiles Mars at 2:30, like, okay, so this is a moment of crisis when it comes to needing to take on my own adventure and be my own person in relationships, and how that's a new thing that we're dealing with, right? A lot of us who have been working on all of these shadow placements and guilt and shame and over giving to people and not nurturing ourselves, these energies are new. And this one at 2:36 p.m. is really saying, like, what's your adventure? What do you want out of the relationship if you were putting yourself first, and how that is going to require really having to put in some conscious effort behind it, because it's a new thing that we're doing. So then at 5:09 p.m., witches, my witchy friends, okay? If you haven't already watched my witch tea about this energy in December, go watch it. I'm only going to talk a little bit on it here because I could ramble for ages. But this aspect at 5:09 p.m., Neptune trining Lilith, are you fucking kidding me? This really is the integration, understanding, walking away from all of these ancestral, generational, family guilts and shames when it comes to spirituality and when it comes to sexual energy. And for some of you, the combination of that. Okay, so this is going to really impact anyone with a 29-degree Pisces placement, a 29-degree Scorpio placement. This is also going to impact you if you have a 29-degree Virgo or Taurus placement, right? Because that's going to be opposing your energies. Now, this Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces, now it's direct for the final time in Pisces. We have only got a month left of closing this whole entire cycle out. So these energies are very loud. And it's like the ancestors are having these crisis moments of trying to communicate with us and trying to have these feelings be felt so we can gain the wisdom and the understanding from it. This in particular with Lilith at 29 degrees of Scorpio, where she's going to be up until the 20th, we've got 5 more days. It's really uncovering secrets, guilt, shames, traumas, all of these massive energies that we have been energetically holding on to, emotionally holding on to, processes in our mental facilities have been holding on to these beliefs. And this is really saying that there needs to be this harmonious flow that allows us to really find the untapped abilities under the guilt, shame, and family trauma. Okay, then we get this biquintal to Saturn, which comes at a perfect time because the moon will have moved into Scorpio, so we're in that transformation phase and the emotions. You know, we're really seeing that death and rebirth situation that Scorpio moons bring. So the moon at 1 degree of Scorpio, making this biquintal with Saturn at 25 degrees. Both are Aries degrees. So we are inputting it in a value system with Saturn that aligns with our self-truth. We are looking at starting something new in our emotional depth, okay? Because, especially because we're dealing with Scorpio here, Lilith's at 29 degrees of Scorpio. So we're like in this space of like finalizing this rejected self around Scorpio energy. And this moon kind of goes, well, okay, let's start the new emotional process. And then when it gets to 2 degrees of that Scorpio moon, it's going to make this square with Pluto at 2 degrees of Aquarius. And this is going to bring some friction up that is trying to have you look at your value system when it comes to your own expression of emotion and your own expression of your authenticity, okay? And we're really being asked to see these things as like an authentic gift, not as something that we should be embarrassed about, not as something that we should feel shame or guilt about being completely different. Like if you are someone who is completely different from your family and you've held guilt and shame, these aspects are really going to help you move through those, okay? Then at 9:39 p.m., we get this semi-square to Venus. And that's happening at 3 degrees, which is the Gemini degree. And it's happening at 18 degrees, which is the Virgo degree. So we're very much in the mind here. We're like overthinking, we're opening filing cabinets, and a semi-square is like an internal stress, right? So it's as if you're kind of rummaging around your filing cabinets, trying to find like an old document that you know you don't fucking need anymore, right? Like trying to find something in there, something to do with Scorpio energy, so deep emotional connection, transformation, sexual energy, all of these kind of Scorpio related things. We're looking for information in there, and we are trying to be discerning and create new habits and like look at these places that are a little bit frustrating to look at when it comes to these relationships, because it's like having to decide, is the relationship worth it if I'm hiding these parts of myself, right? Or is it worth it to hide these parts of myself just to have this relationship? Is a relationship worth it if I'm not having my emotional and sexual and intimate needs be met, okay? Now, a semi-square can be a little bit hard to decide between. What have we got coming after that? Like that's a big gap of energy to be kind of stuck there as well, being in that square to Pluto energy as well. So it could be a really frustrating evening on the 15th, but I'm leaning fucking hard into this Neptune trining Lilith. Okay. So if you want a reading, come and find me. Otherwise, massive fucking day tomorrow, guys. Witches, go and watch the witch tea. All right. Stay weird.